Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. This week we're turning our attentions to finance as we welcome Rachel Edwards from Thrive Together Financial Planning into the studio. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Sonya.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. But thank you for coming in. I've just mentioned, your industry. Mm-hmm. You're in financial planning, which can mean a whole lot of things, which we're going to be delving into a little bit, as we talk through the show. But I'm just going to ask you why. Mm-hmm. Why did you go into the industry and how long have you been in business yourself?
So in my younger days, in my 20s, I had previous businesses, actually in hospitality.
Okay.
As a young business owner, I paid the accountant, but nobody kind of told me about protection or pensions. So I feel like I lost 10 years of building for my future, and I missed out on a lot of tax efficiencies as well. So when I retrained myself, it was with a purpose so that people didn't kind of fall into the same mistakes and they could learn from what I've been through. So as business owners, start earlier rather than later. Having that chat, it's just a chat initially, and that could save you thousands of pounds, really.
Yeah, I suppose, and, just from what you're saying there, being in business yourself and going in, it is quite difficult to know everything that you have got to do.
Yeah.
So from your own experience then, I can see how it's been quite a natural sort of progression. And when you say to do it with purpose, is that obviously something, again, which means quite a lot to you?
Yeah, I mean, I love helping people. So if I can help anybody with the tiniest things, that means a great deal to me. I've got little boys, so it means that balancing that work-life balance is really important as well. So it was just a great fit. I can help people. I'm good with money side of things and business side of things. So it was just a really easy fit, really.
Easy transition.
Yeah.
And so when did you launch Thrive Together Financial Planning?
Launched last November. So
fairly new?
Yeah, a couple of months in now, going really, really well.
And what have you found then, before we go into, the financial side of everything in the industry? But I'm just going to ask you, because with you being a fairly new business in financial planning though, what have you found which has been your biggest challenge so far? Is there anything that you've come up across? I know you've had other business experience, but is there anything quite significant?
Standing out from the crowd, I'd probably say. Because I've been in business before, I suppose I've had a leg up. And I've got a really good support network of other business owners around me. So in that sense, I've been okay. But yeah, just standing out because there's hundreds of financial advisors. Probably you already know someone. It's just about standing out for the right reasons and the kind of people that I can help.
You're on the perfect show to do that, Rach.
Thank
I'm just
you.
going to say. But right, okay, let's get into it. So financial planning.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean? What do them two words, honestly, in just simple language, what does financial planning mean?
Honestly, it's different by the person. So I could meet one person and she could be a single lady, grown-up children. She just wants to know, can she retire in 10 years' time? Can she live the rest of her life with enough money? Or it could be Mr. Business Owner and his corporation tax is really high. He's got no protection in place. He's got key employees. So it really does depend on the person. It is so client generic with me. But there's so much aspects to financial planning. It consists, I look at it as like ladders. You start at the foundation of the protection side of things. Once that's in place, you've got your will, powers of attorney, you've got income protection, life insurance, and then it moves up to sort of making sure that we start investing in pensions to make use of your allowances with work, setting you up for the future. And then, with any surplus cash, you start looking at investments, so making the most of your ISA allowances. And it just keeps moving up that ladder as you progress through your life. The older you get, things might need to be tweaked as we continue through the planning stages. But really, financial planning, your plan is a living document. We're human, we change, we have children, we stop working, we open businesses. The awful things happen. So, parents die, you inherit money. At each of those areas of some kind of change, if it's to do with money, that's part of financial planning.
Okay, so a business owner. And again, you've talked about your own experience and things that you had to navigate through and learn as well with your finances. But sometimes, and again, I'm sure you might agree with this, but sometimes as a business owner, you don't quite think about what all these other things are going on, even if it's a pension or protection. I mean, what exactly protection is actually quite important for a business?
One thing I would say is you're not on your own. There is a lot of people out there that they don't put themselves first. If you're a business owner, you put your business and your clients first. So that is really normal and really common. That's where I come in, and having that chat, it opens all the doors of, oh, I didn't know about that. It depends on your situation. If you've got a family at home and they heavily rely on you, something called relevant life, it's paid for by the business, so it's tax efficient. It works on your salary, so it could give you a very nice lump sum if you were to die. But it does mean that it's written in trust, so your family are protected.
Right.
They would get a lump sum if you weren't here anymore to provide. If you're a multiple occupancy business, so you've got shareholders or the directors, shareholder agreements are a big thing, because you might not like somebody's wife or husband coming into the business, and by law they would own that share, and you can't really stop them. So having that shareholder protection in place is really important. And then the other aspect is key employee, key man or key person insurance they call it. And basically, if you've got a person that, if they don't turn up to work tomorrow, your profits drop, you need that protection in place to counteract either the loss that you're going to lose, or to pay somebody else to come in and do that job.
And is it quite, and again, it might sound like
it's a minefield.
A silly question, but just going along those lines, what you've just said there about employees, if they don't come in, which could actually have quite a negative impact on your business. Yeah. What is the process of putting something like that in place then for protection?
So you go through what's called a fact find. We fill in all the information about the business or the profits, and then about the employees, and the ones that contribute to that profit gain. And from that's when we then do the calculations and we get some quotes. But technically, the insurance side of things, it's a free service. The providers pay the advisor. Right. So it's not a cost that a business owner technically would need to actually fork out for in the first place.
And have you come across any sort of businesses, whether, before you started even the financial planning, when you were doing your hospitality and everything, have you come across businesses which have actually fallen to something like that?
Definitely. I've seen a lot, which is why it's quite apt to get it out there, because, again, I do say, you're not on your own, you're really not. People are not aware of some protections, and they think that a will would cover it, or some kind of agreement, like, your contract at work would cover it, but actually, no. It doesn't provide that lump sum that you would need to get out the hole, really.
So financial planning, and I have spoken to various other, finance firms on this show as well, and others within the network, and there's a lot of things that come up quite often, and one of them is that, and from what you're saying, the awareness of certain things and help and support that is out there is there's still like a barrier to finance.
Yeah. Why people don't like talking about money.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I pride myself on trying to be as accessible as possible and make a conversation as calm and relaxing, so that you can just open up. And I did have a comment yesterday from a new client of, I spoke to you on the phone and I instantly knew I'd be okay, and you made me feel less stressed. Now that for me is, it's like better than an award sitting on the desk, because that's my aim. It's to try and get the education out there. I offer free initial consultations so that people can just have that chat. And if they don't need me, I'll tell them. Or if they need somebody else, I'll pass them on to whoever it is that can help them.
And does it matter, again, I know you've mentioned certain things there, if a business has got staff or this, that and the other, but does it matter what size of a business is to be aware of all these, like
Different
services
ones,
and
yeah.
different sort of things that you can access to
No.
protect you?
No. So at me at the moment, I am a one-man band, as you call it. However, I do have a 9-year-old at home and a husband. And if something was to happen to me, I will make sure that they have a lump sum to provide so that, you know, he can finish work, he can carry on looking after my child. You know, things become easier on the family if I was to die, basically. Critical illness is another big one.
Yeah.
People, it's fine, it won't happen to me. Unfortunately, it can happen to anybody. But people do have this, it won't happen to me kind of view on life, which is great because, you know, nobody wants to live down in the dumps. But yeah, paying that couple of quid just to have that peace of mind is really important. So yeah, you can be a one-man band or a multi-million pound company of hundreds of thousands of staff. You will still need one or some aspects of insurance.
Of insurance and protection and everything. So there's other things, you know, that I've heard of, I know bits about, I've had certain conversations about, but pensions, I'm going to bring pensions back up again, and ISAs.
Yeah.
How does that work or differentiate? Say if you're just somebody who's employed, or you are a business owner, is it different? Do you do it personally? How does it work?
So I always talk about two sides of the coin. So if you're an employed person, I talk about my husband because he's a key example. When I met him, he didn't know what he was paying into. He didn't know where it was invested. He didn't even know what it was for. It's just a thing that gets paid from your wages.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that is a lot of clients that I meet, and they feel worried about things, they feel stressed because they don't understand it. Things are getting better. Providers are putting more tools in place so that, you know, that kind of client can go on and sort of play around with what their retirement looks like, which is great. But yeah, people just don't understand it, and it's about breaking those taboos of actually what life do you want. If you need a life to pay you X amount of money, then you're going to have to pay a few quid in now and build that up. But the younger you can start, the better, because the compounding effect is unreal. But then on the business side of things, a business owner would normally say, it's okay, I've got my business and my pension, or I just haven't got round to it because it's them and they don't put themselves first. But from that side of it, it's the tax efficiency. So it may be that your corporation tax is really high, and if we just make a company contribution, it helps lower the tax, but it also gives your future self a pot. So it's both sides of the coin for them, really.
Well, okay, it's interesting what you said there then as well about corporation tax and being tax efficient. So is there anything else, you know, that we need to be aware of at the moment about being more tax efficient as a business owner?
Everybody's sentence usually starts with, I do not want to pay more tax. So if everybody kind of has that sentence in their mind, then being tax efficient is one of the most common things that I come across. And it is, you can either pay the tax man 40%, or you can pay some into your pension and help lower that back down to your 20% bracket maybe. Personal allowance is a big thing. Once you start going over the 100k mark, you can start losing out on your personal allowance. So I've helped a lot of people bring that down through pension contributions to carry on getting the full allowance. Child benefit is another one. It's a really normal thing. If you've got kids, you've probably got child benefit payments each month. Again, if one of you in the family goes over to that 60 grand, it means that child benefit is slightly less. It starts depleting. So
let's say you've got a magic wand. And we're looking into the future. You've talked about your own experiences, which are relatable. You've talked about you do things for a purpose. And that's why you started up in the industry yourself in finance, in your own business and everything. And we've also mentioned about, you know, there is still those barriers there about even discussing finance, whether it's personal or whether it is a business owner. What would you see, or what would you like to see, or have you got any idea on how we could change those barriers and get more people talking about finance?
I think it's come a long way from what it was, but yes, there's still a long way to go. And it's just about people like myself being on radio shows like this, going in the paper, doing blogs on the websites. It's just about pushing as much social content out there, being on the right platforms, meeting the right people. So eventually, once I've got the business into a position that I can sort of sit down a little bit, maybe. I'd like to go into schools, starting with the really young, where it starts, really. If I can help educate the younger generation, it means that you're building a generation that's got more knowledge than we ever had. So yeah, it's just one day at a time, I say. Yeah. And I've got a big network of other financial advisors that are very similar minded to me. So I know that between us, we are kind of helping out each day in our own little areas. So.
Yeah. So you could even potentially collaborate.
Oh, we do,
with others to maybe, I'm going to use the word force, because I don't think it's a force of change. I just think it's, for me, I think it is, like you say, being more open and getting rid of those taboos and just saying it's okay to talk about finance. Because, you know what I think as well, I'm going to be totally honest, if we are more open about finance,
your well-being.
I think your well-being. You're reading me like a book here, Rachel. Yeah. Do you know me? but it is, isn't it? You could take a lot, especially as a business owner, it could take a lot of pressure off you.
I have physically watched, and this was the first ever client that I had once I qualified. I physically watched his whole body change when I said, you're going to be okay. You're not going to run out of money. You can actually spend a little bit more each year if you want to. And he just, that weight lift, and I physically, like, I've got goose pimples thinking about it now, but I physically saw that weight lift. And he was a really, I say normal, but there was nothing complex. He'd just got a couple of pensions, had them reviewed. Did we need to move them? No, we didn't. Can I live the rest of my life with what I've got? Yeah. It was a really simple kind of case in the world of complexities. But I physically watched the weight lift. It was amazing to see. And for me, that's my job well done. When I see somebody think, okay, everything's in place. Yeah. I'll be okay. I work with vulnerable people, so ladies that I've just had a lady that's going through chemotherapy. So, having that interaction with her through that has been incredible. And you have to really, really knuckle down with her, make sure that she understands everything. It's just, everybody's so different, but they present how they feel better in an instant kind of thing. But just by having that conversation. And a lady last week rang me, I'm really worried, I'm really scared to talk to you. I was like, I'm not scary, I promise. And it's free, I'm not going to charge you anything. And that turned out really well as well. And she feels a lot more secure now. And she was really open in the last meeting that we had. So, it's just about advisors needing to be relatable and accessible. And if somebody wants to pick up the phone and have a chat, let them. It might be half an hour of your day, but if you can make somebody smile, then I'm happy with that.
Totally agreed. Rachel, congratulations on first of all setting up your new business. I wish you all the best for the future. I'm sure you're going to be absolutely amazing in the years to come.
Trying my best.
I can see a big legacy being left here. But thank you for coming on Business Spotlight, and no doubt we'll see you again pretty soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Sonia.
No problem. That's Rachel Edwards from Thrive Together Financial Planning here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonia Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.